Now. Hey, Kyle.
How are you?
Doing
So
good.
I did the Greyfield Inn on Cumberland. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. Um, it's a really cool property. It's actually the only commercial hotel on Cumberland Island. It's grandfathered in, so it's kind of interesting. Thought it'd be a good one to do. Let me move this out of the way. I can't see that. There we go. So yeah, it's a small historical boutique hotel. It only has 15 rooms. So that's kind of a cool part of it. It was built in 1900, but it was converted into a hotel in 1962. And it is only a hotel on Cumberland Island. Everything else is camping and backpacking and that sort of thing. So Greyfield's the only one that's actually a commercial lodging operation. Oops. There we go. For the life cycle portion, it's kind of a funny one. It fits into a few different categories, but I narrowed it down to be the development stage. Since it's so small, it's still marketing a lot. It's still trying to attract new customers. And it's so remote, you have to get there with a boat. So it's not really stagnated. It's not oversaturated. It's definitely been there since 1962, of course. So it's not too young, but it's still maybe on the upward side of the development stage is what I came up with for that. Clientele base, it does have a few different kind of factors limiting who would want to come to the hotel. There is an age limit of 5 years old, so that's going to, price out a lot of small families with younger children. They're not going to be able to go, which fits well with it because there's not a lot of stuff for families to do. There's no Wi-Fi, there's no cable. You have to get there via boat. There's no cars. There's a lot of stuff inhibiting families with small children to come. So it kind of handles more of a more affluent, wealthier, older couples and older family
Also,
travel.
kind of guessing that the 5 years old is the kids listen a little bit better at that age than they do
Sure.
when they're slightly younger. So,
Yeah.
because they
No,
are so
absolutely.
remote, that might be a factor.
It is definitely a factor. And if you see, I'll show some pictures in a little bit of it. It's almost classy. It's very, it's all old wood there. It's still in the Carnegie family. So it's kind of a funny, it's not a Holiday Inn, put it that way.
Okay.
And the price point of the inn it's over, the bottom room is 600 a night, and it goes up to over 1,000 a night for a room. So that automatically sets itself in another price bracket and prices out a lot of people. But there is only 15 rooms, which is kind of interesting that way. So I think they're doing that in order to maybe fit their supply and demand curves.
Mm-hmm.
The impacts of it is on Cumberland Island, which is a national seashore. So it is pretty unique. It's the only commercial operation over there. Everything else is run by the National Park Service and the federal government. So it is a little funny in that way that it is a for-profit operation, but it is grandfathered in. It's been there since the original owners of the whole island, which is also unique because it's one of the only commercial operations that ever exist on the island. Even back then when they owned it, it was just all mansions and homes. So it's one of the only things that makes money on the island. But it's very sustainable. It has a lot of eco-friendly aspects to it, which I'll get into in just a little bit here. It is a small property, so it's situated on only less than 25 acres. So it's in the grand scheme of things, it's very small on Cumberland, and it does have its own private ferry, which is pretty interesting. All the other ferries you leave from St. Mary's, the main ferry to Cumberland, but Greyfield actually has their own private operation that goes from Fernandina Beach. So it's not even impacting really that ferry that the National Seashore is set up to get guests over that aren't staying at the hotel. It has its own totally separate thing. Economic impacts are pretty important. Being such a high class hotel, it attracts a different kind of clientele, and they're more likely to stay a night in Fernandina Beach and spend some money there, stay in a hotel there, eat at the restaurant, and then Camden County, of course, benefits from the bed tax and taxes paid by the property on its land and all sorts of that nature. A couple of viewpoints from different shareholders or stakeholders. The locals, you hear some opposition to commercial operations on these islands sometimes, especially Cumberland. There used to be a push to have a development over there. There was going to be a neighborhood. It got incredible amounts of media press and coverage. So you definitely feel that there is opposition to things going on this island that are for profit. But Greyfield is so historic. It's almost grandfathered in there, and it doesn't seem like much of a threat since it's so small. It only has 15 rooms, not a lot of people. That's not hundreds and hundreds of people going on to the island. And like I said, it's better than most options would be. Definitely better than it could have been having a golf course or something horrible over there. So travelers see it funny as well because they go to Cumberland. It is a national seashore. It's pretty much marketed as a total wilderness area, and sometimes they're not totally informed that there is a commercial hotel over there. But it's like I said, it's small. It's on the southwestern side of the island. It's kept out of the eyes of most folks. There are some tours that they do. They do kayaking and hiking and different type of eco-friendly nature tours, birding operations, things like that. So Sea Camp, which is the other operation on Cumberland Island, it's where most of the folks go and take tours from. They might encounter Greyfield guests, which might put a little, I wouldn't say animosity, but it might be a little funny seeing people from a commercial operation over there, not thinking that you would see something like that on Cumberland. But it is such a historical site. John F. Kennedy Jr. got married at Greyfield.
Oh, that's cool.
Back in the 90s. And then the towns, of course, St. Mary's and Fernandina Beach, they both are going to benefit, like I said earlier, from these travelers coming to Greyfield. They're going to feel the impact. Not much of an impact from Greyfield. It's only 15 people, 15 rooms, I mean, but it is something. And for these small towns, it's something that's better than nothing. Tax revenue, of course. The sustainability efforts are really cool at the inn. Like I said, it's a private ferry, so that's not putting stress on another ferry. There's no extra car traffic. They don't bring the cars over. They're not driving around. Everything's done on electric golf carts. I think they have a few small pickup trucks, but nothing crazy there. And everything is a low impact activity you can do at the hotel, fishing, kayaking, nature expeditions, that sort of thing. They're not riding through with ATVs or anything like that. Nothing crazy. And the food is really cool about this. This is what really caught my eye about Greyfield sustainability. There is a 2-acre culinary garden on the property. There's a picture of it. It's pretty expansive.
Oh, nice.
So they're growing so much of their own stuff, and they're doing it all organically. And so that's taking stress off the food supply lines, the food supply chains, trying to barge all that food over. They're taking a big chunk out of that and doing it all organically, which is cool. Very cool. So now on to my carbon footprint. I used the website carbonfootprint.com. It seemed to be the most detailed. There was a lot of them that gave you a state by state or county average, and that's what your footprint was. But this one actually requested 45 different values from my input. So that was pretty interesting. I wanted to get more accurate than the ones I found earlier. And I did calculate it from March 1st, 2019 to March 1st, 2020. It's my timeline there. So apparently my footprint is 42.37 metric tons of carbon, which is a lot. It's 3 times the national average. I was expecting a little higher number just because I do a lot of traveling. I drive a big truck, that sort of thing. So I was expecting a little higher, but I definitely wasn't expecting 3 times the national average. A little bit alarming. Reduction of my footprint. There's several ways I could do it. The footprint calculator gave me kind of a percentage breakdown of what I was using on, and most of my footprint was coming from my car and the amount I drive. So I drive almost 25,000 miles a year, and I've got a big truck. So that's where most of that's coming from. I do take a few flights a year, so some of it was coming from there. Definitely try to round that out if possible. Reduce consumptions of energy. Down here in the South, our AC, we're cranking that thing pretty much 10 months out of the year. So I'm sure that has something to do with it.
I don't know, because up north, we're running the heaters the other months.
That's true.
If you're not running the AC,
true.
you're running the heater, which one's worse? I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah. Just kind of depends on the efficiency of your system in your home, I reckon.
Yeah.
That was another one of my points is improve home efficiency. Try to get everything as new and as green certified and efficient as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And offsetting the footprint, it was kind of cool. Pretty interesting what they gave me. They gave me 6 different options, which to offset my entire footprint via a cash donation. So they gave me options saying, hey, you're doing this, drive less, take less flights, here's your percentages. But then they also gave me ways that I could just donate to these programs, and that would put enough carbon offset that it would offset what I'm doing, so to speak. So they gave me the reforestation in Kenya. It was over $500 to offset my entire footprint for the year. And then there was several other operations kind of similar to that, replanting trees. And then a few of them, there was 2 that were portfolios. So it was a like a fund that funds 20 or 25 different projects around the country. And they wanted a $385 donation. I thought that was interesting. I don't know how effective that would be for most people. Maybe some people jump on it, but I guess it's a good way to get that knowledge out. Maybe the amount of people who are going to pay that money makes it worth it. So, and there's my bibliography.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah. You're the first one to just nail all the talking points. Very good.
Good. Good.
How did you find out about Greyfield Inn? But you grew up around here, right?
Yep.
So have you been to Cumberland Island before?
I have. I've been 3 times now. I haven't been to Greyfield. The price point's kind of outrageous, but I've been near the property. Yeah. But it's a cool place though. It really is. It's an old historic mansion and it's got a lot of history.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
And it's still owned by the Carnegie family, which is very funny.
Yeah.